The world just stopped. One moment, there was chaos. The next, absolute silence. Not the quiet kind of silence, but a heavy, thick stillness that pressed down on everything. The final, desperate scream of a falling skyscraper was caught in its throat, a silent roar frozen in time. Smoke from 1,000 fires hung in the air, unmoving, like solid grey sculptures against a bruised sky. In the heart of what was once a bustling metropolis, the world held its breath, waiting for a cue that would never come. It was a pause button pressed on reality itself, a glitch in the grand design of the universe. In the streets below, the last moments of humanity were preserved like insects in amber. A sea of people, their faces twisted in fear, stood motionless. They were caught mid-stride, mid-scream, mid-prayer. A single tear on a child's cheek refused to fall, a perfect glistening orb of sorrow suspended forever. Cars, twisted into metallic pretzels, were frozen in their final violent dance. The destruction was a masterpiece of stillness, a snapshot of Armageddon. Every shard of shattered glass, every crumbling piece of concrete hung in the air, defying the very laws of gravity and motion. Even nature was held captive in this temporal prison. A flock of pigeons, once scattering in panic, was now a static constellation of feathers and fear against the backdrop of the ruined city. Their wings were locked mid-flap, their beaks open in silent cries. Raindrops, which had begun to fall like nature's tears, were now a curtain of suspended diamonds, each one reflecting the frozen devastation around it. The world was a photograph, a three-dimensional diorama of its own end, captured in the most terrifyingly beautiful way imaginable. It was a moment stretched into an eternity of silence. The ancient temples, which had stood for centuries, were not spared. Their mighty pillars were cracked, their sacred domes shattered. Beside these broken monuments to faith, devotees were frozen in their final desperate pleas. Hands were clasped in prayer, eyes shut tight, lips parted to utter a name that was now trapped in silence. The contrast was brutal. The modern world's steel and glass lay in ruins next to the ancient world's stone and belief. Both were equal in their destruction, both silenced by this inexplicable, all-encompassing pause. The air was thick with unspoken words and unfinished histories. Then a light. It started as a pinprick in the dark, angry clouds. It wasn't the sun, it wasn't lightning. This was something else entirely, something ancient and powerful. The light grew, not with a sudden flash, but with a slow, deliberate bloom, like a divine flower opening its petals. It pushed back the darkness, casting long, unmoving shadows across the frozen landscape. The light pulsed with a gentle rhythm, a heartbeat in the silent void. It hummed with a power that vibrated not in the air but in the soul itself, a frequency of pure creation amidst total decay. The pinprick of light expanded into a swirling vortex of energy. It was a gateway, a shimmering portal that tore a hole in the fabric of the sky. Colors that had no names swirled within its depths. Celestial blues, cosmic golds and fiery oranges. It was a window into another reality, a dimension beyond human comprehension. The portal did not roar or crackle, it shimmered with a serene intensity, its edges defined by pure white light. It was a promise and a threat, a beautiful, terrifying tear in the canvas of the sky. All the frozen chaos below seemed insignificant before this magnificent spectacle. From the heart of this luminous abyss, a sound began to echo. It wasn't a sound that traveled through the air, for the air was still frozen. It was a sound that bloomed directly inside the mind. Ancient Sanskrit verses, chants that were old when the world was young, filled the silence. The words spoke of Dharma and Adharma, of cycles ending and new eras beginning. They were the sacred hymns of cosmic justice, sung by an unseen celestial choir. The resonance of these chants was profound, a vibration that seemed to shake the very foundations of the frozen moment, preparing the world for what was to come. The light from the portal intensified, spilling out and bathing the ruined world in its divine glow. It illuminated every frozen detail with an otherworldly clarity. The suspended raindrops sparkled like a billion tiny stars, and the motionless faces of the crowd were lit with a strange ethereal luminescence. The light was not warm, nor was it cold. It was simply absolute. It was the light of truth, a raw, unfiltered energy that stripped away all illusion and left only the stark reality of the moment. The stage was set. The audience was frozen in place. The grand entrance was about to begin. And then he emerged. From the swirling heart of the portal, a figure rode forth, not with haste, but with the unhurried confidence of destiny itself. He was mounted on a magnificent white steed, a horse so pure and radiant it seemed to be carved from moonlight and starlight. The horse's hooves did not touch the air, they glided through it, its every muscle and sinew a testament to divine perfection. Its eyes were like twin blue flames, holding the wisdom of the cosmos. This was Devadatta, the celestial mount, a creature of myth and legend stepping into the broken reality of the modern world. The rider himself was a vision of divine authority, Kalki, the final avatar. He sat tall and straight, his presence commanding the entire silent panorama. He wore not the armor of kings, but the simple, elegant attire of a warrior god. His form was lean, powerful, and radiated an aura of immense, controlled energy. His face was serene, yet stern, a perfect balance of compassion and resolve. This was not a god of gentle mercy. This was a god of righteous judgment, a force of nature come to cleanse the world of its deep-seated corruption and decay. His arrival was the climax of a cosmic story written ages ago. In his right hand he held a sword that burned with an unholy fire. It was not a flame of this world, it was a celestial fire, a blaze that could incinerate sin itself. The sword radiated a brilliant, blinding light, its edges sharp enough to slice through time and space. The weapon seemed alive, humming with a power that crackled and hissed in the stillness. It was the instrument of the Great Reset, the tool that would surgically remove the rot that had infested the soul of humanity. The fiery sword was a symbol of the end, but also the promise of a pure new beginning. His eyes were the most captivating and terrifying feature of all. They glowed with an inner light, two brilliant orbs of pure, concentrated power. They were not eyes that simply saw, they were eyes that perceived everything. They looked out upon the frozen world, and in their gaze one could feel the weight of all of eternity. They saw every sin, every act of cruelty, every moment of greed that had led to this devastation. There was no hiding from this gaze. It was the gaze of ultimate truth, of divine reckoning. In those glowing eyes, the fate of the world was being decided. The sky itself responded to his presence. As Kalki surveyed the silent ruin, the clouds above tore open. Streaks of lightning, not the natural kind, but jagged spears of pure energy, ripped across the heavens. They did not strike the ground, they danced and writhed in the sky, a chaotic symphony of celestial power. The crackle of this divine lightning was the only sound that dared to break the stillness, a sharp percussive beat accompanying the silent Sanskrit chants that echoed in every mind. The sky was no longer a passive backdrop, it had become an active participant in this divine drama. The contrast was staggering, almost too much for the mind to process. Below the broken symbols of the modern age, shattered smartphones, crumbling skyscrapers and useless rusted machines were monuments to human arrogance and failure. Above, the ancient myth had become hyper-realistic. A god on a white horse, holding a flaming sword, surrounded by celestial light and cosmic lightning. It was the ultimate collision of two worlds, the finite, broken world of man and the infinite, powerful realm of the divine. The old stories were not stories, they were prophecies, and this was their fulfillment. A profound sense of awe settled over the frozen moment, a feeling so immense it eclipsed the terror of the destruction. This was not just an end, it was a reckoning. It was the universe rebalancing itself, correcting a course that had gone horribly wrong. The arrival of Kalki was not a punishment, but a form of divine justice, a necessary intervention to pave the way for a new Satya Yuga, an era of truth. The stillness was not death, it was a sacred pause before the great purification was to begin. It was a moment of absolute clarity before the storm of cosmic change. As Kalki raised his blazing sword, its light casting a brilliant, purifying glow over the world, a new feeling began to dawn. It was a glimmer of hope. The destruction was horrifying, the stillness was absolute, but the presence of the divine rider promised something more. It promised that after the end there would be a new beginning. The slate would be wiped clean, the cycle would be renewed. In this moment suspended between the end of one age and the dawn of another, the world waited for the first swing of the sword that would change everything forever.